guys, more Medic 1 here, and today we have a stihl MS-192T on the bench, and as you can tell, the chain is loose. We've got some issues somewhere in the bar or maybe even in the sprocket. If your chain won't spin when you give it throttle, don't keep hammering on it because you're going to melt that sucker down. But let's take this thing apart and see what's going on with it. Chain brake is working, and the chain is just absolutely stuck. So let's go ahead and remove the side cover. Let's just take a look-see here. So what I did, I went ahead and mounted the bar back on the saw without the side cover, and everything is free. The bar's not bent. The sprocket needs some attention, but it's not to where it can't be used. Something is going on with the bar cover. So I had another MS-192T saw waiting to be repaired, and I just decided, hey, let's just check and see. And the side plate off of the donor saw works flawlessly. So we need to figure out what in the world is going on with this side plate. So this is the old housing, and the first thing that I notice is that the chain brake band is not running in the track that it needs to be. It should be running right around along this ridge right here. So let me get the old one, or the good used one. So we can see that the band is running all the way, and it's running in the track here. Now this one's even melted. This little band keeper, this thing has gotten hot. Somebody has run this with the brake on and started melting this cover right here. So what I'm going to attempt to do is coerce this band to go back in its right spot. Like so. And let me tell you the reason that this is all jacked up. Whenever they installed this, the brake band was, or the brake was engaged, and they tried to install this over the clutch, and it couldn't, because it couldn't go down in here. They put it on there, and then they crammed the bolt down as hard as they could and got everything in a bind, and that is the absolute reason right there. Now what they've done, there's a little stop right back here that keeps this band from going up in there too far. Now once that little stop is broken out, then you're done. You need to replace this outer housing. But let's just carefully reinstall this and see how it turns out. kind of got that issue taken care of. If the customer doesn't make sure that that brake band is in the right spot when he puts this on, he's forevermore going to be having problems. But whenever you install the side cover on any chainsaw that has the brake band that's in the cover, like a Poland or a Husqvarna or this stihl MS192T. Now, some other stihls, the brake bands are mounted inboard of the clutch. So we're, as you can tell though, we're a little bit sticky. That's because that dadgum rim sprocket, the sprocket is just worn out and it's just bump, 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 catching. So let's go ahead and replace the sprocket. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward when it comes to clutch, or not clutch, but the sprocket R&R on a chainsaw. Pretty much industry wide when it comes to this repair right here. Now what you're looking for is sometimes you may need a special tool, and sometimes stihl puts a nut right here on there for you. This nut is part of the clutch. Excuse me. And a lot of times these clutches will be inboard, so this will be down inside the block, and then the sprocket goes over it with the sprocket teeth, facing you instead of being backwards like this one. This one makes it even easier. Good access, but what we need to do is find a way to keep the piston from moving. So we're going to remove the air filter, and we're going to remove the spark plug, and we're going to install a piston stop. Now you might be tempted just to put an impact wrench on here. You might get away with doing it that way, but hey, let me tell you, what's on the other end of this crankshaft? A flywheel, an aluminum flywheel, with a small little Woodruff key for a flywheel key. If you start hammering on this crankshaft right here and vibrating it, you could break the key on the flywheel over there. So don't use an impact when it comes to taking these clutches off. Alrighty, we got our piston stop installed. Basically, you just want to stick it down into the spark plug hole, and then you just kind of cam it to where this portion here butts up against the upper cylinder, and basically it won't let the piston come to top dead center because you now have this much plastic down in the cylinder. So that will lock our crankshaft and protect the piston, because we're actually using the factory stihl piston stop. Now, using a 13 millimeter 6-point socket, what I recommend is just go ahead and we're going to take this thing off to the right. So righty loosey, lefty tighty. Not quite. Sorry guys, I was having an issue with getting my piston stop in the right spot. So let's just go ahead and bear down on that. It should come right on. Just inspect, make sure all the springs are good, and then slide off the sprocket. Now I know you keyboard commandos are thinking, "Oh, more medic! There's nothing wrong with that sprocket. Why are you replacing it?" Well, I'll tell you why. This darn thing is just so worn out that whenever the chain rides up, it actually gets caught on these teeth here that have been just ground down into this clutch. Whenever this is trying to turn over, when it's that worn down, it actually changes the pitch of the the angle of the sprocket, and it makes the chain not want to go around smoothly. So when it looks like this, just go ahead and replace it. I've actually seen these guys run them until they just cut this sprocket in half because they never change it. Check out this new one. As you can tell, it's got no wear in it whatsoever. It's brand new. But check this out. When I open the package, it actually comes with a piston stop for you guys. If you want this piston stop by itself, I think this is proprietary to this MS192T. It's quadruple zero. I believe that's a 893 5905. And if you need the clutch number, 1137 640 2005. Fits the 3/8 Pico MS192T. So when we put this back together, I'm going to use the correct piston stop, or the one that came with it. The one that I used is fine. It's just completely different for a different application. It looks like this, and compared to the one that comes with the clutch rim. And this one's been modified a couple times, but if you need the part number for this one, quadruple 893 5903 is the steel part number for this style piston stop. So to install this style of piston stop, you're going to just finesse it down into the cylinder. Make sure the piston is not at top dead center. If it is, push the piston down a little bit. Take the tool and rotate it up like so, and just pull the rope until the piston locks on the piston stop. Pretty straightforward. Go ahead and repack our clutch bearing. Get that grease all the way around. You can use the steel gear case grease, works great for this. I'm just using the Echo Power Blend gear case grease. Just get it all in there real good and pack that bearing. Now this sprocket rim is going to have, what is it, 6 stars, 6 fingers. Now you need to make sure that they fit down into the oil pump gear here, or this thrust washer. So when you set it on there, you want to make sure that that engages with that plastic washer. Looks something like this. If you bolt that clutch on like this, you're going to have a bad day. Like I said, you got to make sure that that's in there just like that right there. Reinstall your clutch, and remember, lefty tighty, righty loosey. You don't have to kill this thing to get it tight. You just want to snug it, because as this engine runs, it's going to be self-tightening. That's plenty tight right there, folks. Like butter. People have different opinions on how to set the tightness of a chain, and here, let me show you real quick how I do it. This is how we were taught at the stihl school, so if anybody has anything to say about this, then you can contact Stihl and go troll their website. When you pull this chain up off of the bar, now you can do it from the bottom or the top, it doesn't matter. But what you're looking for is to be able to see daylight through 3 of the first drags that you pick up. So you can see daylight between this one, and this one. This one's still down in the bar, and this one is still down in the bar. So that's how we were taught to adjust the chain. Alright guys, we got that little MS-192T going one more time. Hey, if this content helped you out, and I know it did on this video, give me a thumbs up and smash that subscribe button. Doing so will let YouTube know that I'm doing a good job, and it will help get my videos out there for everybody to see. Y'all have a good rest of your day. More Medic One.